So about a month ago, the NVIDIA app updated, and with this update, we were meant to get the ability to swap any DLSS 2 or 3 game to use DLSS 4 and its shiny new transformer model. But in reality, that kind of didn't happen, kind of did. Now, we'll go through it together, and I'll show you how you can update any DLSS 2 or 3 game to use transformer and take benefits of the better image clarity and all that lovely stuff. But first, let's just quickly cover off the actual problem. So I've got NVIDIA app open up here. Now, if I click Cyberpunk 2077 and we come down to driver settings, you've got DLSS override, and I can select the button next to it, and I can specify to use the latest, right? Great. What about Dead Space up here? I'm going to use this as an example because I know it doesn't work. So if we come down to the same settings, driver settings, DLSS override is unsupported. Now, this game shipped with DLSS version 2.5. Just to clear up, this is actually the Dead Space remake from 2023, not the original 2008 Dead Space. Anyway, this Dead Space 2023 shipped with version 2.5 of DLSS, but for whatever reason, NVIDIA doesn't let me update it using the latest version of the NVIDIA app. Now, I'm not sure as to the why, but NVIDIA does have a whitelist here, and I'll put a link to this down below. But this is a whitelist. This is NVIDIA's website. I'll zoom in a bit here so you guys can actually see what the heck I'm looking at. If we scroll down, you can ignore a bit of the fluff. Now, they've got a bit of a legend here showing you that the green tick just indicates that the technology is in use in that game, and you need to look for the NV, NVU, and NVT for the different upgrade paths that are available for that game. Make sense? So as an example, if we go Control F and we type in Dead Space into here, and we can find Dead Space, and we can see a tick. There's 2 ticks. So if we go all the way back up the top and we check what the heck those ticks mean, we can see that it had a tick for DLSS super resolution, and it had a tick under ray tracing, because the game does have ray traced ambient occlusion. Now, if we select DLSS super resolution, let's just filter for all of that, and we'll change it to game here. So now, just to paint a picture for you guys watching, the NVIDIA app, in the top, let's say, 10 games listed here, only 2 can actually be updated. All of them have DLSS, but only 2 of them can be actually updated using the NVIDIA app. There's all these games here that can't be updated. So you get the same thing that I have with Dead Space, where it says it's unsupported in the NVIDIA app. So you can go through this list and find, if you're curious, click the link, I'll put it in the description, and you can go through and find whatever game if you want to check it without actually having to download the game if you do just want to use the NVIDIA app to update your file. But what about games that are not eligible to be upgraded using the NVIDIA app? Well, let's go through and we'll do that now. Let's update Dead Space from DLSS 2 to DLSS 4 and the new transformer model. Now, I will just quickly say that we do need 2 different tools to do this. We need DLSS Swapper and we need NVIDIA Profile Inspector. Yes, I'm aware you don't need DLSS Swapper. It can be done manually. I have a video out from last year explaining how to do it manually. But in today's day and age, DLSS Swapper has so many positives, I just can't recommend it enough. So, I've got Dead Space running already. Now you can see I've got my DLSS indicator showing here, and just to confirm that it is running version 2.5.0 when the game is actually running. So our goal is going to be to update this 2.5.0 to whatever the latest version of DLSS DLL happens to be. And we'll also get an in-game confirmation that it is using the latest preset, and the latest preset is confirmation that it is using the new transformer model. So we can close down Dead Space because we do not need that anymore. We're going to start by updating the DLL first. So I'm just going to type in DLSS Swapper because I've already got it installed. Now, let me actually minimize the NVIDIA app. Go away, we don't need that. So when DLSS Swapper opens, it'll do a scan, it'll detect the games you've got installed. For this, we're just obviously using Dead Space, so I'm going to click this. You can see here confirmation, yep, it's using DLSS 2.5. So it's reading this install path up here, and it is checking to see what DLL file versions are present. So it knows that, yep, this game here shipped with version 2.5. So to upgrade it, all you have to do is just click the 2.5 or whatever version for whatever game you're using, and I would just select the absolute highest one because that'll be the latest version of DLSS, and and you just click swap, and it will automatically download the file for you. So we click swap on that, and there you go, 310.2.1. So at the time of me recording this, that is the latest version. Now, if a game has frame generation or ray reconstruction, you would update those separately because they all have different DLLs. And that is why I would recommend you use this app and don't do it manually, because it can get very confusing when you're doing it manually. Because ever since DLSS 3, we've now got ray reconstruction, frame generation, all under different DLLs, and it gets very easy to miss one. So I just keep it simple, use this tool. It doesn't run in the background or anything. It's only running when it's opened. It just swaps a file. That's all it does. Cool. All right, let's close out of that. Now, just as an example, if I click Cyberpunk, you can see in here DLSS frame generation, ray reconstruction, and they'll all have their own versions as well. And if you can see here, reset your DLL to its original, you can click reset and it will roll back to whatever the game actually shipped with. It doesn't delete the DLL file, the original one, it just renames it. So again, just so you guys are aware. Cool, so that's it. So just to recap real quick, all you do, open it up, click the game, click the DLSS file, select the version you want, click swap, and then that is it. It takes literally 2 seconds. And it's set and forget. You don't need to go do it again, ever. Well, technically, if you obviously delete the game and then reinstall the game, then you would have to do this again. But you don't need to ever run this program up until you are installing it again. I will actually, I'm going to make another video on this probably in the coming week or two, but I will show you how I got that DLSS indicator. It's just under settings in here, and then it's under DLSS developer options, and you can go show on screen indicator, and it's just set it to enable for all DLLs. And that'll turn it on so then you can see it in game. Keep in mind though, just use it for testing because you have to close your game, turn it off, and then relaunch your game to have it disappear once it's showing. Also, if you have it set on here, but you have DLSS off in game, it won't show you any indicator in game. The reason I'm going to make a separate video for this is because there are multiple ways you can actually enable it. You don't have to use DLSS Swapper, so I'm going to make a dedicated video because there is a manual way that you can actually go through and get that indicator displaying. Anyways, that is it. So just to recap quickly, because I have a tendency to over-explain things, all we've done at the moment is we have run DLSS Swapper and we have swapped it to the latest DLSS DLL file. Very simple, very easy. If I was to rerun Dead Space right now, you would now see the latest DLL version. So that would bring with it quality improvements just from time and the NVIDIA, algorithm getting better. Now, the last step we have to do is an NVIDIA profile inspector. And this last step is going to tell it to use the new transformer model. Okay, so go away, NVIDIA. We don't need you. So let's go NVIDIA, and we're going to type, what is it? Profile inspector. NVIDIA profile inspector. Screen probably just went black because of UAC prompt. All right, so when you open it up, it looks like this. It looks like a lot, but really we're only changing one thing. The important part that you need to be aware of, though, is in the top left corner. It says profiles. By default, it's going to open the base profile for your driver. Any settings you change under here are driver-wide, computer-wide. So if you change a setting here, then every single game you run is going to be impacted by that change, if it supports the driver level changes. So for me, as an example, if we come down, the setting we want to change is under 5 common, and it's DLSS forced preset letter. And you can see mine is set to preset K, which again, at the time of recording, that is the latest version. Okay, preset J, preset K, both those versions, transformer model. DLSS 4, transformer model. So I'm selecting preset K. Now, there is an optional in here to always use latest, but that's dependent, that's letting the driver then do some extra steps to detect the latest version, and the NVIDIA app sometimes doesn't play well with it. In that it'll work, but the NVIDIA app can override certain things. So I just find if I set preset K under the global profile, that's the best. I never need to open Profile Inspector again. Well, I obviously do, but I do it post another driver update or driver installation, just to make sure it's still set. Okay, now you may not want to do it under the global, because if you're the kind of guy who plays a lot of online games, then some online games are very picky and they can ban you for driver level changes, in which case you would only change it on a per app basis. So this will have a list of every single game you can possibly imagine in alphabetical order. Okay, so we're just going to type in here Dead Space, and you can see the original 2008 Dead Space at the top and then Dead Space Remake below it. So we're going to click that. And then we're going to browse down to the exact same option we were just in. We're going to go under 5 common, DLSS forced preset letter. You can see it's already set to preset K because I'm using mine at the global level. That is it. I can get out of this. So we've updated the DLL file for Dead Space, and we have forced preset K for Dead Space. Oh, actually, sorry, I don't remember if I told you. Short-term memory loss. In Profile Inspector, when you are done making the change, there is a Apply Changes button in the top right. Just click this, double click this, and then just you close it down, and you're good. So let's rerun Dead Space now, and just to confirm that this is using the updated version of the DLSS file, and that it is using preset K. I don't know if I'm gonna maybe skip this, cut it out, and post. How long is this game gonna take to launch? All right, so we can see the game's now open, and yep, we have DLSS version 310.2.1, and the render preset is set to K. One little thing, because I know someone in the comments is going to ask me this, but it does actually say DLSS version 3, not version 4. That's a internal NVIDIA problem. The marketing team called it DLSS 4. The file type for the newest DLSS files are still labeled 3, despite the fact that the 5000 series and new frame gen and all that stuff just uses version 3.10. So just ignore the fact that it does say DLSS version 3 there. Go off the actual file version of the DLLL for DLSS. In this case, it's 310.2.1. But anyway, that's it. So just to recap, because again, I over-explained everything and I'm all over the place. Let's just minimize this. So all we did was we opened DLSS Swapper. We just clicked on the game we wanted to swap. We clicked this to swap it. We clicked whatever. Click swap, apply, close, close. Really easy. And then we just opened up Profile Inspector. And then in Profile Inspector, we just came down to option 5 common, and we just swapped it to preset K. If you want to do it under the global profile, it'll apply for all games. If you play lots of online and competitive games, then you probably want to do it on a per app basis. And then we clicked apply and closed. And that was it. It takes 2 seconds. And you don't need to worry about removing the NVIDIA app. If you do it this way, you can still have the NVIDIA app installed. You can still use RTX HDR. You can still use in-game filters if you want to, and shadow play and stuff. There's a bunch of guides online going through these steps on how to use it, and a lot of them tell you that you need to remove the NVIDIA app and remove, drivers, whatever, reinstall, all that stuff. Their way definitely works. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying that I use RTX HDR and I use in-game filters depending on the game. So for me, I wanted to keep the NVIDIA app, and this is a way where you get the best of both worlds. You can update your DLL files, you can force the transformer model, and you can still use all the NVIDIA goodies.